How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. The following scary videos are perfect to watch at night time. So hit that subscribe button and get ready for more creepy content just like this.
This video begins with eerie nighttime footage of a hunting stakeout. While these videos are routinely uneventful, this footage is an exception. Watching closely, you'll see a large dark figure emerge from the bushes. One's first instinct is to assume the figure to be a relatively medium-sized bear, but this is immediately disproven when it begins to alternate its odd walking pattern. Going from all fours to leaping around on its hind legs, the figure begins to more closely resemble a gorilla, or something more humanoid at least. There's no plausible explanation for an escaped gorilla to have appeared stalking around the woods, but this explanation is more comforting than the alternative. A closer inspection of video zoomed in reveals the creature's face to be unsettling. While the creature's distinct features remain indistinguishable, the outline does not resemble that of the common gorilla. The figure's odd gait coupled with the outline of odd features makes this video all the more disturbing. As a viewer, one feels thankful that they're not the ones left out alone at night with this odd creature. There are a plethora of scary videos online detailing inexplicable phenomena, but this video, uploaded by YouTube channel Ordina Hazuba, presents one of the more obvious pieces of evidence of potential supernatural activity. The user noticed that stuffed toys in his spare room kept being scattered inexplicably around the room. He often heard strange noises in his house and saw objects moving on their own, so he finally decided to film the events. The video begins with the user recording a table in his spare room. Scattered on the floor near the table are a handful of stuffed bears. The user goes on to explain that they had all originally been placed on the table, only when he would return to the spare room he would find them scattered on the floor once again. While explaining this in detail to the viewer, the video focuses on the one lone bear left on the table. The user laments that he doesn't know what's going on in his own home and that he finds it to be very odd. As he continues to explain the odd situation he's found himself in, the user and viewer are able to see the disturbing phenomenon firsthand, as the sole remaining bear is pulled back off the table onto the floor by an inexplicable force.
Really strange, man. Just really strange, man.
The user then verbalizes exactly what the viewer is thinking as he says, "What the hell was that?" Wasting no time, the user takes off, running away from the room as the footage cuts out. It's clear from the viewer's perspective that there's nothing touching the bear, and that it was neither knocked over nor did it fall on its own. What is depicted in the footage is a stuffed bear being pulled back forcefully by forces unknown.
What the hell was that?
St. Augustine is one of the oldest and most historic cities in Florida, home to many notable sites that date back to the Civil War. Old war stories and inexplicable ghostly phenomenon go hand in hand, as many know. The historic lighthouse in St. Augustine is no exception to this rule, with its own long history of ghost stories and rumoured haunting abound. This disturbing video taken in the lighthouse appears to begin peacefully, showing off a seemingly quiet and undisturbed corner of the lighthouse. For a few moments, the viewer is under the impression that there's nothing unsettling happening. The lighthouse is quiet and there isn't a soul around. Or so one thinks, until they're confronted with a shadowy figure between two of the lighthouse's rooms. One may originally assume that the figure is that of a shadow of another lighthouse visitor, but there's something odd about the shadow. The shadow appears to float several feet off the ground as though it's an apparition. Perhaps this could be explained by an odd trick of the light through the windows, creating some weird refraction of the shadow, but then it begins to move. The shadow travels eerily through the rooms, slowly floating off the ground. When it finally makes its way into the opposite room, the shadow begins to fade away before the viewer's eyes. This kind of odd shadowy behaviour is not so easily explained away, but these sorts of events are said to happen quite frequently at St. Augustine Lighthouse. Home to ghost tours given by the museum curators themselves, ghost sightings have become an important part of the lighthouse's history. Featured on TV shows like Ghost Hunters, many seem to believe the historic site to be a hotbed of paranormal activity, and occasionally scary videos such as this reinforce the lighthouse's infamous reputation. Before we get to that number one spot and take a look at an alleged poltergeist haunting a family in Mexico, remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on channel notifications. That way you'll be in the loop about all our creepy content. While these odd stories have been discomforting, no story of paranormal activity is scarier perhaps than that of one that gets personal. Haunting or supernatural phenomena directly aimed at someone make them all the more terrifying. What's more, when they're happening in your own home and there seems to be no recourse, things can get infinitely more disturbing very quickly. That's exactly what happened to this Mexican family when Beto Salas had the misfortune of bringing a seemingly cursed item into his own home. Detailing the backstory of this event, Salas explains that everything began when he was hospitalized, undergoing serious treatment. During one night in the hospital as Salas slept, he dreamt a small girl brought him a stuffed dog that would help him feel better. Upon awakening, Salas's wife explained to him that a girl from the hospital did in fact bring him a stuffed animal while he slept. To Salas's surprise, the stuffed animal was the exact same one that he had dreamt of. Taking this as a good omen, Salas brought the toy home with him as a sign of good favour upon leaving the hospital. This, Salas would later find out, would seal his fate. In this video, uploaded by Gencore Videos, Salas depicts the odd phenomenon that has been occurring in his home ever since he brought the stuffed toy home. As far as scary videos go, this one packs a lot of supernatural phenomena into a short video. The video begins in the family's home as Salas explains the frequency of these odd occurrences. As Salas takes the viewer through his home, he eventually shows the stuffed toy in question. As though on cue, the cuddly dog falls over on its own, exhibiting the first disturbing event of the video. This alone would have been eerie enough, as the viewer gets the feeling the stuffed dog is both sentient and aware that Salas is talking about it, but there's more to come. Continuing on, Salas explains that the odd activity is happening in all areas of his home, making he and his family feel unsafe. As Salas explains this, one sees the handles of a nearby scooter move not once but twice, all on their own. It's hard to tell if there's anything making the scooter move, but it certainly looks like it's genuinely moving on its own. Salas seemingly takes this in his stride, remarking that it's happening again, as though he's gotten quite used to these disturbing events happening in his own home. As Salas continues to move through his home, he hears a noise from behind his back. Turning around, one sees the fan behind him starting to move, then fall all on its own. Aside from Salas, the room is empty. His family is asleep, seemingly braving these odd occurrences as though they've begun to learn to live through them. Wanting to protect his family, Salas decides to light some incense and say a benediction for his family, hoping to drive any spirits away and keep his home safe. While doing so, Salas makes his way through a previously closed and quite loud and creaky door. If anything had opened the door, the sound would have certainly been picked up on the camera. It's no wonder that Salas is shocked as he opens the door to find the allegedly cursed stuffed toy has somehow moved to this room. It sits eerily on a pillow on the bed. Salas laments that this is his home and he shouldn't have to feel unsafe here. Looking around the room, a pillow begins to move on its own, and a toy car exits from under the bed. More and more distraught, Salas's pleas become more desperate. Exiting the room, the door left ajar, a child's voice can be heard moaning. It's not any of Salas's children as they're fast asleep. Salas now prays, scared for his life and his children's safety. Closing the doors as he goes and praying around his home, Salas gets more and more desperate to explain the conditions under which he and his family have been living. Extremely disturbed, Salas becomes more and more distraught. Just as he closes a door and walks away, the sound of distinct knocks can be heard on the other side. A washing basket is thrown against the door, and Salas becomes worried that the cursed stuffed dog is angry with them. Having previously described the toy as having uttered "mama," Salas is convinced the spirit of the little girl from the hospital is haunting the doll, wanting to return to its mother. Salas pleads that he'll be able to help the girl to reunite with her mother. As he says this, you can see a dark entity is now sitting at the rear of the bed. If you slow the footage down and brighten the image, you can clearly see some kind of shadowy figure perched on the bed. Fearing for his life, Salas runs away, just as the viewer has likely decided they've watched one of the single most disturbing, malicious, supernatural occurrences on the internet.
If you want more creepy content, then check out these 2 links right there. Now, if you want your name scrolling along the top there, then consider supporting our Patreon campaign. There's a link in the description box below. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time. Pew!